قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this new live episode of Ask Zad. You will find the phone numbers inshallah displayed underneath, or not underneath, actually at the bottom of the screen, unless you haven't extended the screen. And also you can call us through Skype at Zad TV for your questions. Meanwhile, we have these questions from the emails. Mu'izz says, what's the ruling on watching the Turkish drama series Ertugrul? This has taken the whole Muslim world by storm, and Muslims are watching it, and they also tell others to watch it and tell people that this is filled with Islamic values, spirituality, etc. First of all, claiming that Muslims are all watching it is an exaggeration. There are Muslims who still abide by the Quran and the Sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ said in an authentic hadith, Islam started as something that is strange, and it will revert at the end of times to being strange. So give the glad tidings to the strangers. In the beginning, when Islam started, it was the Prophet himself ﷺ, and all others around him were idol worshippers. Then, few years down the line, the whole community, the whole region, almost a great chunk of this world are Muslims, and they abide by Islam. Walillahi alhamd. There will come a time where they will shrink in number, not necessarily in their labeling as Muslims, but rather in their quality as true Muslims, as true strangers. And this question illustrates this fact. Now, this drama called Ertugrul, it's a Turkish drama. Whether it's a Turkish, Egyptian, Syrian, Moroccan, it doesn't matter. As Muslims, we don't look at the quantity. Oh, 100 million people watched it. Oh, this person has 200 million followers on social media. It doesn't make any difference, or it doesn't have any value. What counts is what is recommended and preferred by Allah Azza wa Jal and what is not. Therefore, we come to this drama. I personally, praise Allah Azza wa Jal, I have not seen a single clip out of it, so I don't even know it. But I've heard it from so many Muslims, unfortunately, saying that it's good, it's this, it's that. Now, the basic questions. For Muslims, I'm not talking about non-Muslims. I'm talking about practicing Muslims who ask to know whether it's halal or haram. So we look at it from a perspective of whether it's halal or haram. Now, does it have music? They say, oh, definitely it has lots of music. Okay. Does it have free mixing between men and women? They say, or is it only men? They say, no, there are few women here and there, but they're decently dressed, yet they're there. So this renders it immediately to be haram. Now, I know a lot of the people would say, oh, Sheikh, this is too extreme. Akhi, who determines whether it's extreme or not? Is it me? Is it the scholars? Or is it the Quran and the Sunnah with the understanding of the three favorite generations, the Tabi'een, the companions, the Sahaba, Tabi'een and Tabi'it Tabi'een? So if it has music in it, and if it has free mixing, Islam tells you that this is haram, even if they're teaching Islam, let alone that they may also teach innovation. Because some of the brothers, and I don't remember whether this came to me through a question or someone was telling it to me face to face, that in these series, they have innovations in their dhikr, in their ibadah. They have also maybe some sort of more than such innovations if it's related to visiting the graves and seeking help and refuge in such graved people. They call awliya. And we know that this originated, nowadays when we go to such countries, we find this shirk in front of us. We find these innovations right in front of us. Giving the adhkar before the adhan, reciting قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدْ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِالْفَلَقِ وَمِنْ شَرِّ النَّاسِ, and doing the congregational dua after, and the dhikr after the salah. All of these innovations started from when? From this, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, which is not related to the sunnah at all. And they, that is their leaders, hate the sunnah and fight the sunnah because it opposes what they're teaching to the people. Therefore, I would say that if you are interested in abiding by the Quran and the Sunnah, you should stick to the Quran and to the Sunnah. And don't be fooled by the number of people talking positively about such things. They talked before it about the series of Umar. And maybe tomorrow if they make a film about our Prophet ﷺ and they depict him, they would probably go with the flow. And this is not how we Muslims think and believe, and Allah knows best. Ramla from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Assalamualaikum.
Sir, I have two questions.
Yes.
My first question is it allowed to do ruqya if one does not have any problem or illness or just as a protection from COVID-19? Can we do ruqya?
Okay.
And the second question is it correct to say that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is a nur of guidance? That's all, sir.
Okay, I will answer inshallah. And we have Zainuddin from the UK.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salamullah.
How are you, Sheikh? I'm sorry I couldn't call you for how many days?
I'm doing well. I've missed you all these times, but I hope inshallah you are healthy and well.
I have a question.
Yes.
You know, I don't like to expose people, but I mean, I've heard you say companion of Allah. Is that allowed?
Companion of Allah?
Yeah. Wouldn't that be? Is that allowed?
Well, okay. What's your second question, Zain? Let me think about it.
You know, there's a channel
Yeah.
that there's a channel that I've seen and I've warned against. And what they do is they expose incidents from the kuffar. So they expose people, for example, dancing to the Quran. And they talk about people insulting, different shuyukh and all of this. So I told my family so I said that that's not acceptable and it would be sinful and they're dividing the ummah. So what's your opinion regarding this? It's called Smart Jannah by Zishan.
What is actually being said in that channel?
So all they do is they expose incidents. They don't teach anything. They just expose incidents. They just talk about this kafir did this kafir danced to the Quran, this kafir burned this kafir did this and this and this.
Okay. Any more questions?
Okay. I have one more question. It's actually not really a question because we've seen how the coronavirus we've seen how many people are getting addicted to the youth getting addicted to those movies and all of this stuff. But what about if there is no haram in it? Wouldn't it still be wise enough not to follow these kinds of things about Netflix and all of that? So if someone subscribed to one of those channels, for example, someone subscribed to Netflix and all of this, would that mean their money haram and whatever they buy with their money is haram and their dua is rejected?
Okay. I will answer inshallah.
بارك الله فيك، أسأل الله العظيم واجعله بصغر فترة حسنة وأخذتها والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Barakallahu feek, jazakallah khair. So Ramla's first question was about doing ruqya as a form of protection. And this is not permissible. Ruqya is done to ask Allah for healing. And if a person does not have anything to ask Allah for healing, then he should not say ruqya. He should say the adhkar that offers protection. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق thrice. بسم الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم thrice. اللهم نسألك العافية في الدنيا والآخرة, etc. The adhkar that we say in the morning, in the evening, after fard salat, before we leave the home, before we go to bed, these will act as a shield to protect you with the grace of Allah Azza wa Jal, but not the ruqya. As for her second question, is it permissible to say that the Prophet ﷺ is the light of guidance? The answer is yes. He is described in the Quran as light, meaning as a beacon of guidance. And we were not guided to Islam, we were not guided to Allah except through Allah's favor and blessing upon us by sending us this light who is the Prophet ﷺ. But one has to be careful not to associate such a statement with the belief of deviant and cults. Deviant cults that claim that the Prophet ﷺ is Nur and he's created from Allah's Nur. And this is blasphemous because the Prophet ﷺ was created like all other men. And he was described as a human being. And he had a father and a mother. And he was born like a normal human being. To claim that he was created from Allah's light, this is blasphemous and kufr. So be careful about that. Zainuddin says, can we say that one is a companion of Allah Azza wa Jal? First of all, it is not you who takes companions, it's Allah who takes companions. So I could say I am a very knowledgeable person. I know a lot of people. I personally know the president of this country. I know the king of this country. This is nothing. I know them, but they don't know me. So there's no point in saying this. When you say and claim that you are the companion of Allah, you are flattering yourself, praising yourself. What proof do you have? So you don't claim that. But Allah may select among His servants someone to be a companion to Him or a Khalil. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ said that if I were to take a dear friend and a close friend, which means Khalil, I would have taken Abu Bakr. But I am the Khalilur Rahman. I'm the close ally and friend of Allah Azza wa Jal. So for us to claim that with Allah is inappropriate and not permissible. Amna from Pakistan. Amna? Amna from Pakistan.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Alaikum salam. Can you speak a little bit louder, please, so I can hear you?
Can you hear me now?
Inshallah. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you. So I have two questions.
Yes.
The first one is, like we are usually told that we should be persistent in making our dua, right? That we should nag Allah constantly.
We should not what?
But then we should nag Allah. Like we should constantly ask Him for a thing if you want something.
Yeah, nag is not an appropriate word to use with Allah. Yani to be consistent and to ask frequently. Yes, correct.
Yes. So my question is, for how long should we be persistent? Because we see examples of prophets who were granted in their wishes or their duas at a very later stage in their lives.
Okay.
So sometimes I feel like I should give up, but then again in my heart I feel like, nee, I'm not. It's just been a month or two. You should not give up. God is going to listen to me. But then again, I have this dilemma as well that maybe I might miss out on an opportunity if I keep my head stuck to this single thing.
Got your question. Second one?
Second one is, I usually offer my Whitter with my Isha prayers, thinking that I might not get up with Tahajjud. So whenever I get up for Tahajjud, should I offer Whitter again, or is it just fine?
Okay. Any more questions?
No, thank you so much.
I will answer you, Amina, inshallah. Zain al-Abidin says there is a channel, and this channel deals with exposing the disbelievers and saying that this disbeliever said so and so about the Quran, another disbeliever said so and so about the Prophet ﷺ, and his parents are watching it, his family is watching it, and he's telling them that this is not halal, it's inappropriate. So what's the ruling in that? Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in Surah An-Nisa, verse 140, chapter 4, that if people were mocking your religion and ridiculing the signs of Allah Azza wa Jal, you should not sit with them. Otherwise you will be among them and from them. Now these Muslims, Smart to Jannah or whatever, who made these videos, maybe their intention was good, but to relay whatever these kafirs said, you are giving them a platform to spread their evil and to spread their kufr. Even if you reply to that, even if you refute that, all what they want is publicity, and you're giving them this honor. Secondly, sometimes you may not be successful in refuting their claims, which would cause doubt in some Muslims' hearts. Thirdly, this is not the way of the Quran or of the Sunnah. The way of the Quran and of the Sunnah, and this is a lot of the times people say to me, why don't you refute this da'i or this scholar or this preacher? Time is short. We don't have time for this. This is not the way of the Prophet ﷺ. The way of the Prophet ﷺ is to present Islam to others, to present the Quran, answer their misconceptions, explain to them the Sunnah. But when I devote 30 or 40% of my time talking about this da'i and his shortcomings, talking about this scholar and his deviation, talking about these innovations, as if I am a fly that its only profession is to fall on garbage and to eat from that. This is not the right thing to do, and Allah knows best. So yes, they are not supposed to watch such things. Now, his third question about COVID-19 and how in this lockdown people have spent most of their time watching movies, dramas, etc., wasting their time over things that are, if not harmful, they are not beneficial. So what's the ruling on that? And would the earning of a person be haram? There is a difference between what you pay to watch and what you earn from others watching. So this means that if you work in such places, if you are a provider of such a service, and you give people access to movies, to dramas, to shows, to music, etc., your earning is totally haram. But if you are buying such a service, so someone who is having a subscription and he pays money monthly to watch haram, what he's paying is haram. He'll be held accountable for it. But this does not influence his work at the electric company or at a pharmacy. His earning is halal from halal work that he does. But what he's spending is haram, and he will have to be questioned about it. Now, he's also said that what about if these movies did not have or do not have haram? Well, I don't know of any halal movies. But if there is a movie that has no music, it has no deviation in aqidah, it has no free mixing with women, this is totally okay, inshallah. I don't see anything wrong in that once every blue moon. And to watch like shows that have animals in them, like in the National Geographic, for example, Wild. Sometimes there are shows that are so beautiful, captivating, but it has music in it. So you have to mute it and watch Allah's creation. There's nothing wrong in that. There are no women, and all what you're seeing is nature. Then this is totally legit and halal, insha'Allah azza wa jal. Usama from Pakistan.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. How are you?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah. How are you, Usama?
Fine, sir. Sir, I have two questions.
Yes, sir.
First question is about the night prayers. That instead of tahajjud, I pray night prayer immediately after Isha prayer. So it is valid or not? And second question is about sujood as-sahwi. That today I prayed Zuhr prayer and I'm in doubt, 50% that I have prayed 3 rakat or 4 rakat. So I assume that I have prayed 3 rakat, and after performing salam, I prayed 4th rakat as well, and then again salam, and then 2 prostrations of sujood as-sahwi, and then salam. So I just want to confirm this is the right way or not.
Come again. You were doubtful whether you prayed 3 rakats or 4 rakats. So you assumed that this is 3 rakats. You prayed the 4th. You made tashahhud
Yes,
and salutation, and then what?
No, sir. I prayed 3 rakat, and then after salam, I prayed 4th rakat. 4th rakat.
Hey.
I get a 1 rakat, and then 2 prostration of sujood as-sahwi, and
Okay.
then salam. Just want to confirm this
Any more questions?
question.
Khalas.
Sir.
Okay. I will answer inshallah. We have a short break. Stay tuned, and inshallah we'll be right back.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'm going to talk about the book Interactions of the Greatest Leader. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam reminded us through his guidance and example that Islam is complete submission to the will of Allah. For one who submits, a mere declaration or display of belief will not be taken for success, but his or her heart and soul will certainly be put to test. Allah tested the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam severely in order that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam becomes an example for his companions to follow. Similarly, he tests the believer to see whether he lives a righteous life in accordance with the instructions and commands set by Allah, or lives according to what his desires dictate. Whether the faith he displays is firmly rooted in his heart, or is it merely on the surface. He will be tested to see whether he will continue to have faith and love of Allah when in a calamity, as he does when in comfort, whether he will continue to remember and worship him if given bounties and comforts of life, as he does when he lives a modest life. Allah will undoubtedly test him to see if his faith, trust and love of him is unconditional, or is it conditioned upon good health and a comfortable life, free from stress and anxiety. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam showed us through his own example that for a righteous Muslim, this life is a testing ground where he will continue to be tested until he meets Allah. For him, tests will be conducted on earth while he lives, and not after he dies. He knows that as soon as death arrives and he steps into the next world, his tests are over. There, he only receives the result of his tests and enjoys the fruits of the deeds that he committed during a short span of time called life.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome back. Amina from Pakistan says, what is the ruling on insisting in dua upon Allah and being consistent in that and not stopping? So is there any limit to that? because sometimes we think that this is not appropriate. Anyhow, before we take Amma's question, we have Maryam from the UK. Maryam?
Assalamu alaikum.
Salamullah. Yes, I'm listening to you, Maryam. What can I do for you?
I want to ask a question regarding wudu. Are people with long hair allowed to wipe over their head once?
To what?
Regarding wudu.
Yes.
Can people with long hair wipe over their head once without bringing it back forward?
Okay. Any more questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, we have Faizan from India.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah.
Sheikh, I have a few questions.
Yes.
My first question is, I am having a lot of waswas, means in wudu, in prayer, like in prayer also, I am having a lot of waswas with pronunciation. So what should I do? Should I repeat the ayah, for example, until I get it right, means 5 times, 4 times, or should I try it once and try my best?
Okay, second question.
I have a problem that I cannot differentiate exactly what is mocking Islam and what is not considered as mocking Islam. So that happens that whatever I do, I get a lot of waswas, and sometimes it happens that I take shahada like many times a day.
Okay.
My next question is, how can I learn Aqidah and Fiqh? Because I can't find the English version of Sharh al-Mumti'. So, and I don't have access to some nearby sheikh who can teach me. So how can I learn it?
Okay.
My next question is, I have a Rubik's Cube. So there's a hobby called as speed cubing, where you try to solve different Rubik's Cubes as fast as you possibly can. So it requires some practice. So how much time am I allowed to give it in a day?
Okay.
And while doing that, while solving Rubik's Cubes, there's not like concentration in that. So can I play any Islamic lecture in the background? So or it would be considered as disrespectful.
Okay. We will stop here, inshallah.
I love you for the sake of Allah, Shaykh.
May Allah love you as you love me. Jazakallahu khairan. So we have a number of questions. Among them is Amina saying that, which we have just read quickly. Till when should I continue to make dua? I made dua for a couple of weeks, for a couple of months, a couple of years, and nothing happened. And I've read that some prophets would make dua and on the spot they would be answered. Subhanallah. You're not a prophet. Therefore, don't have that kind of expectation. Yet, even prophets, Allah Azza wa Jal may delay answering their dua. For example, Prophet Ayyub, peace be upon him, he was tested by Allah, a calamity that was bestowed upon him, where he had illnesses all over his body. All of his family died except his wife. And he became poor after being rich. And he remained in this calamity for 18 years, 1/8. And then Allah Azza wa Jal restored all of his favors and blessing upon him, and he was patient, and Allah complimented him as being patient. So you're not a messenger, and definitely you've not been making dua for 18 years. Secondly, it is a big mistake that when we ask Allah for something, we think that this is the best thing, and either my way or the highway. Either it's going to happen, which means Allah Azza wa Jal loves me and favors me, or it doesn't happen, which means I'm cursed, I'm jinxed, Allah doesn't love me, why does Allah hate me? And such nonsense that people talk about. And this is wrong. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal for a beautiful car, and Allah does not give me a car. I shouldn't be sad, because when I ask for something, the Prophet told us in an authentic hadith alayhi salatu wasalam, that Allah Azza wa Jal gives us one of three, answers us in one of three ways. Oh Allah, give me a car. Boom, the car is in front of my house. A gift from a brother, a gift from work. You never know. This is one. The second, oh Allah, give me a car. Allah doesn't give me a car. But it was predestined that there will come an illness that would put me in hospital, and the hospital bill would be 100,000 riyals. Exactly the amount of that car. And Allah Azza wa Jal deflected that illness, and it did not come to me. I don't know that this was predestined, it was going to happen to me. But because I'm making dua, Allah Azza wa Jal took it away from me. Number three, oh Allah, grant me a car. Open the door, there's no car outside. Look around, there's no illness that was coming, and it was deflected away. Then where is it? Well, you'll find it on the day of judgment, when it's the day of reckoning, and you know that you have done X amount of good deeds, but you will come and find X to the power of 5 or 10. And you say, subhanallah, I didn't do all of this. And Allah would tell you, yes, but you asked on that day for a car, and it was stored for you as good deeds here on the day of judgment. And this is why the companion said, Prophet of Allah, if this is the case, then we will make a lot of dua. Allah, and the Prophet said, Allah is even greater than that. So you make dua and you will find it with the grace of Allah. So you should not give up hope. Keep on making dua until it happens, or you add much more to your good deeds on the day of judgment. She says that, can we perform Whitter twice at a night? So a lot of the Muslims ask the same question. They have a habit, after praying Isha, they pray 2 rak'ahs rawatib of Isha, and then they pray 3 rak'ah Whitter. Some pray 1 rak'ah Whitter. So what's the ruling on that? That's permissible. Then they wake up before Fajr. Half an hour, 1 hour, they pray tahajjud, and they ask, can we pray another Whitter to conclude our tahajjud? The answer is no, this is prohibited. The Prophet said, alayhi salam, there is no 2 Whitter in one night. So as long as you've prayed it after Isha, you can't pray it after tahajjud. But if you pray it, or if you don't pray after Isha, any Whitter, so you only pray 2 rak'ah of the Sunnat al-Isha, then you may pray 2 rak'ah night prayer, 2 rak'ah night prayer, and go to bed and wake up at the end of the night. Yes, you can pray tahajjud and conclude that with 1 or 3 rak'ahs of Whitter. This is totally legit. Usama from Pakistan, he says that, can I pray night prayer before sleeping, or this would not work? Akhi, a rule of thumb. Any prayer you pray after Isha and before Fajr time, this is called night prayer. It's a big umbrella. Underneath this big umbrella, we have Taraweeh, we have Tahajjud, we have night prayer, Nafil. So if you decide to pray all of your night prayers after Isha, good for you. If you say, no, I'd like to pray it before I go to bed, good for you. If you say, no, I'd like to go to bed and wake up an hour before Fajr or in the middle of the night and pray tahajjud, that's good for you. You can do either one you wish, providing you don't, as in Amina's question, you do not repeat the Whitter. The Whitter is prayed once, and the most recommended is to conclude all of your night prayers with this Whitter, and Allah knows best. His second question was about praying Dhuhr, and he made a mistake in that. So what he did was, he prayed 3 rak'ahs, And during prayer, he was in doubt whether this was the third or the fourth rak'ah. So he finished the prayer, offered salam with 3, then stood up and added 1 rak'ah, sat for salutation, tashahhud, offered salam, and offered 2 prostration of forgetfulness. This is totally wrong. The hadith is crystal clear. The Prophet said, alayhi salam, if one of you is doubtful whether he prayed 3 rak'ahs or 4 rak'ahs, then he should cast the doubt. Okay, where is the doubt? I'm doubtful whether I prayed 3 or 4. The doubt is the 4th rak'ah. The 3, I'm certain I've prayed them. I'm doubtful whether this is the 4th or not. So the Prophet says, cast out the doubt. So I have to pray a 4th rak'ah. And after tashahhud and salutation, before salam, I offer 2 sujood as-sahu. Allahu Akbar, Subhan Rabbil A'la, Allahu Akbar, Rabbi Ghfirli. Allahu Akbar, Subhan Rabbil A'la, Allahu Akbar. Then I offer salam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and that's it. So what you've done was totally wrong. You should repeat your prayer again, and Allah knows best. Maryam from the UK, she says, if a person has a long hair, is it mandatory to wipe over your head and then go back again? First of all, the pillar in wudu is to wipe your head and not to wipe your hair. What's the difference, Sheikh? Well, your hair may extend to your back. So the sunnah is not to wipe my head and then go and take my hair and wipe it all over. No, this is not from the sunnah. The sunnah is to wipe your hair from your head from here till just before your neck and go back. That's it. So if one does it one go, this way, and that's it. The wiping is valid, but he's not following the sunnah. And I'll give you a bonus. This is on the house. This is the sunnah, to go back and to come forth. But there is another sunnah, which is to put your hands on the middle of your head and wipe downwards. And for sisters or for fancy people with nice hair that they don't want to disturb, this is much easier. So if you just wipe from the center of your head downwards like this once, this is sufficient and does the job, insha'Allah. Faizan from India. Question number 1. He has a lot of wiswas, a lot of whispering in ablution, in salat, in pronouncing the words of Fatiha, of the surah. So is he obliged to repeat it? So he says, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Oh, no, I think I made a mistake. Ihdina I've heard so many people next to me do this while praying. So they repeat the verse like 5-6 times, and all these 5-6 times are correct. But there's something that is not clicking in their heads. So Ihdina as-sirat. No, I think I didn't say the ha correctly. As-si. And they repeat this, and wiswas plays with their heads. Akhi, if you're like this, do not repeat. Do not repeat. Just say, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Even if you feel that there's something wrong, move on. This is shaitan messing with your head. And the vast majority of counseling sessions that I do are with such people who are confused whether the ideas they have about Islam, the waswas about the Quran, the waswas about their purity, about their salat, about divorcing their wives, so many things. And it is usually solved in a couple of minutes. Because if you have the knowledge, if you learn your deen, you will be, inshallah, in good hands. So his second question, I have a problem to know what is considered to be mocking Islam and what's not. And due to this wiswas, I keep on repeating the Shahada because I feel that I've exited Islam. So I keep on repeating Ashhadu la ilaha illallah wa Muhammadur abduhu wa rasuluh and entering Islam a number of times per day. Again, how to deal with this? Sit with a Muslim counselor who would look into you, preferably a Muslim, practicing Muslim psychiatrist. They're good in this and they can talk you out of it. Secondly, you have to learn more about your religion. Satan has a lot of experience under his belt. And when he comes to you, he knows exactly how to manipulate how you think. So once you obtain proper knowledge, learn your religion well, and be strong in your knowledge, he's got a big problem that he would find a difficult time trying to divert you from Islam through his whispers. So you need to do this, inshallah. We have Abdullah from Canada.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Abdullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. Yes, akhi, what can I do for you?
Sheikh, I have a problem. I'm extremely lazy when it comes to, for example, memorizing the Quran, watching Islamic lectures, doing these type of things that benefit me. However, for example, if I could watch a 50-minute video of something that has no benefit to me whatsoever. However, I have a problem when it comes to watching a lecture that benefits me for the same amount of time. And I'm extremely lazy when it comes to these type of things, and I needed some advice.
Okay. Any more questions?
No, thank you.
I will answer you, inshallah. Idris from the US.
Then stood
Idris?
نعم.
Yes, akhi. Idris. Yeah, Idris.
نعم.
I'm listening, akhi. What's your question?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Salam wa barakatuh.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. So my first question, is it permissible to engage in, so in the West we have this buying a car off of financing. However, Muslims who are conscious of riba, they find 0% interest. So the dealer, they give that to like people who with good credit who can put a large number of money down as down payment. They say 0% interest. They could pay it off on a monthly basis. Is it permissible to engage in that?
Okay.
Especially if, so let's say if one were to die, that person does have enough money saved up and the family understand, okay, you hold this much. If I die, pay it off immediately. They understand that. If all that is taken care of, is that kind of transaction permissible for a practicing Muslim male?
Second question.
My second question, I joined somebody in prayer the other day. I was trying to pray Maghrib. I saw him that he just started his prayer. And as I joined him, I realized he was praying Asr, not Maghrib. I stayed with him throughout because I had already started my prayer with the intention of joining him in Salah. And I finished praying with him until he did his third rakah and he got up. But then I sat down until he came back down and then he finished his tashahud and did the salam. Then I did my salam as is my imam. Is that the proper way? Is there a different way I could have gone about doing that once I realized he was praying Asr and I was joining him for Maghrib? So he recited inside and all of that while I just stayed there and I followed him throughout.
Gotcha. Any more questions?
No, Sheikh.
I'll answer you, inshallah. So Fizan's third question from India, he says that how is it possible to learn Aqidah and Fiqh, especially when we know that Al-Sharh al-Mumti' for Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen is not translated? Well, there are other books that are translated and you can learn from it. So there is the book of At-Tawheed by Imam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, may Allah have mercy on his soul. There is Thalathat al-Usul. There is Al-Aqidah al-Wasitiyya. There is a number of books that you can benefit in terms of aqidah. As for fiqh, this is for free. I'm not endorsing it because I'm making money out of it. It's for free. If you visit my YouTube channel, you will find the series of Umdat al-Ahkam, which I was fortunate to do in Mumbai a few years back. It's a workshop. It's a almost 200 series of half an hour each, covering the fiqh from A to Z. So it's on video. It is supposedly high definition, inshallah. And you will find so many things that you would learn by just watching it. And also there is on my website the MP3 of it. So if you want to just listen to it, not watch my handsome face, then this is also a big possibility and definitely a big plus for you. So just listen to it and learn from it. And there are other scholars, mashallah, who have invested their times in explaining the aqidah and the fiqh. You have to know who to look for, and inshallah, you'll benefit from that. His fourth question was about the aerobic, I think it's called aerobic cube, and the one with the colors. So there is a way of doing it in a very quick fashion, and he's asking, is this permissible to do, and can I spend time doing it, and how much time is permissible? Well, if we look back at your wiswas, at your acquiring knowledge of aqidah and fiqh, and compare it to this, then this is a little bit shaky. People should not waste their time on things that bring no benefit to them. So, okay, you can solve it in like 5 seconds. So what? You can solve it blindfolded. So what? This is nothing to be proud of. It's not something that would get you closer to Allah. If it's a hobby that you're doing while maybe not watching, not concentrating, yes. But if you invest time in it and it has no value, I don't think that this is appropriate. Would it be permissible to listen to lectures? There's no problem in listening to lectures while doing it, as long as you're attentive to what is being said in the lecture, inshallah. I think we will conclude with Ahmed's question from the UK. Ahmed?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu wa barakatuh.
How are you, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah, I'm still kicking. What can I do for you?
Alhamdulillah. So I just want to ask a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
One of them is, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but to summarize, I have a skin condition, eczema, and a couple months ago, I was in hospital because of this condition and how it turned out. Alhamdulillah, I was given a cream to be able to relieve me of my skin. But the thing is, this cream is, I think, waterproof, and it acts as a soap as well. So before doing wudu, it takes me approximately an hour or so to try to get it off. And I find it really difficult to do it constantly. So am I able to perform tayammum?
Okay, second question.
My other question was, in wudu, are we allowed to go above the wrist while washing the hands, above the elbow while washing the arms, and above the ankle while washing the feet?
طيب. Any more questions?
What's the ruling also on while in congregation in prayer due to the lockdown, while in the home, do we you see how there's a leading imam and then there's two behind?
Yeah.
What if one of us don't know how to pray? Do we still is the congregation form still the same, or do we still have to pray side by side in this case?
Okay. I will answer inshallah. Barakallah fiqh. So Abdullah from Canada says he's having a problem because once he listens to the Quran or watches a lecture, he feels bored, sleepy, doesn't look forward to it. But if he watches a movie or a video clip or something that is not related to religion, he could spend hours without end. So what is the reason? The reason is, akhi, it's like the scholars say, if you want to know your position on the Day of Judgment to Allah, look at Allah's place in your heart. Your priorities are definitely set wrong. So this is why you find fun, and this is human nature. You find fun in watching things that are not related to deen, and the moment someone preaches you, or you hear a lecture, or you read the Quran, you feel lazy and tired, etc. You have to fight this. You have to set your priorities right by associating yourself with practicing Muslims. Idris from the US, akhi, you can buy a car in installments from the dealer, from the owner, providing a very important condition, and that is that the final price is fixed. So we agree that this is gonna cost me $35,000 net, nothing else. So if the inflation rate goes up, the interest rate goes down, 35,000 remains 35,000. Whether they take a huge down payment or little down payment, what counts is the final price. Whether you pay it alive or dead, no problem. But even if they say you have to pay it within 4 years, 0 interest. However, if you're 1 month late from these 4 years, we will add to it interest. This is totally haram. His second question about his Maghrib prayer, and your prayer was right. What you have done is right. The Imam was praying Asr, and he did not know that. He joined them thinking that they were praying Maghrib. But when the Imam stood up for the fourth rak'ah of his Asr, he remained seated in his tashahhud position because this was his third and final rak'ah. Once the Imam finished his fourth, sat down for tashahhud and salutation and offered salam, he offered salam with him. Your prayer is fine. Ahmad from the UK, I think, he says that the cream he uses for his eczema is waterproof and it takes an hour to remove. Akhi, if you can remove it, then you have to remove it. And make sure it's waterproof, because sometimes it's so greasy, but it's not waterproof. So if it is waterproof and it can be removed, then you have to remove it. If removing it causes more harm or would affect your eczema, or the doctor say that you should not remove it, then you should perform normal wudu on all other limbs except the one that has the eczema on, and afterwards you perform tayammum for skipping washing that area. And his second question was about exceeding the place of wudu. So we know we have to wash our arms till the elbow. What's the ruling on exceeding? Well, exceeding by like an inch is okay because you have to include your elbow. But if you exceed by washing your biceps as well, this is wrong. Though it was done by some of the companions thinking that this understanding of the hadith is correct, like Abu Huraira did, but all the scholars say that his understanding for the hadith was wrong. So you should not exceed by far or by a great distance this area. And finally, if we're praying 3 in home, the Imam and 2 behind him, but one of the 2 behind him does not know how to pray, so would we consider his prayer invalid and we should all stand in one row? The answer is no. Even if he doesn't know how to pray, as long as he's attempting and he is with the other person knowing how to pray and part of the congregation, by watching him and watching the Imam, he would pick it up and learn, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. This is all the time we have. Until we meet next week, I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين